going on, Jerome's? Minnesota Vikings made a big-time move on Wednesday, trading for Los Angeles Rams running back Cam Akers, Super Bowl champione, as well as familiarity with Kevin O'Connell and Wes Phillips. And it's interesting because after 2 games, the Vikings have the worst rushing attack in the NFL. And again, part of that is O-line, part of that is Mattison and Chandler, part of that is game script, part of that is small sample size, right? But the Vikings, either way, only 69 yards rushing, not nice, the worst in the NFL. 2.69 yards per carry also is not nice. So it's not good. It's not good right now. But Akers could be the injection that the Vikings run game needs. And we want to go through some of the narratives that are surrounding this trade. It's a new segment. True or false? So we're going to put out a narrative out there, and we'll say if it's true or false. First up, Vikings are giving up on Mattison. Now, that is, first off, absolutely false. Where, yes, Mattison remained and re-signed a 2-year, $7 million deal after the Vikings, before the Vikings cut Dalvin Cook. But it seemed like there was a wink nudge agreement there when he signed early in free agency that Dalvin would eventually be traded or released, and that's exactly what happened. But Mattison, a little bit rough through the first 2 games, but also it hasn't all been on him. The game script has gotten away. Offensive line has been bad. His 2.2 yards before contact is 38th in the league amongst running backs, so it's just not good. Like, everything about the Vikings running game stinks right now. But also, I don't think this is them just giving up on Mattison. I don't think that they're just going to put him down the bottom of the depth chart, or they're going to cut or trade him. 2.75 of his $3.3 million base salary is fully guaranteed for next year. So Mattison's going to be on this team. And Mattison still can bring some stank. He still has some power. He's still a solid all-around back. And I think that in the right spot, he can be really good in this Vikings run game. Next up, number 2. The Vikings regret cutting Dalvin. That is 100% absolutely false. Now, I understand, people get tied to names and perhaps a little bit too long. And, maybe we're guilty of that too, just trying to, hey, Linval Joseph, mama, I can change him. But the whole Thielen, gone. Patrick Peterson, gone. Kendricks, gone. Dalvin, gone. Those were all positives. Those were all improvements for the Vikings. Mattison and Akers and Chandler is an improvement over Dalvin. Like, honestly, have you seen a Jets game this year? Dalvin is keeping Breece Hall on the bench, which really sucks. But Dalvin has 17 carries for 40 yards, 2.4 yards per carry, and a fumble right now. So it's not good. It's not good for 33 in New York. So, no, the Vikings absolutely do not regret cutting Dalvin. Even though it is kind of hilarious that Cam Akers' draft comp coming in was Dalvin, and he 1-for-1 replaced Dalvin as a true freshman in Tallahassee at Florida State in 2017. It's kind of funny, man. Next up, number 3. This immediately fixes the running game. It's also false. Now, it's a good first step, but also the offensive line needs to get their ish together. Now, signing Reisner is a big-time step in that direction, but also the Darisaw getting healthy, Bradbury on his back, getting good to go as well, and Akers, fleshing into the offense as well as, Kevin O'Connell's got to start calling a better game. Like, the run game just really seems helter-skelter. There's no flow to it. It doesn't flow off of other passing concepts. So I think that right now, like, the running game is a mess, and everyone is to blame right now. But signing Reisner as well as trading for Akers is really smart. Watching Boardwalk Empire right now, just rewatching it. It's a fantastic show, man. Watching from episode 1, got a long ways to go. Anyways, number 4, Akers is immediately running back 1. Maybe. And I know they've already said that, Dalton Reisner is going to work his way in and all that stuff. And Reisner's even said that. But they also said similar things about Hawkinson last year. And then he played 60 of 66 snaps and had 9 catches for 70 yards. So I'm sure that they're going to say, Cam Akers, is just going to slowly work his way in and find his way. And golly gee willikers and Mrs. Cleaver, blah, blah, blah. But, it's also a possibility that Akers gets the most carries of the 3 running backs on Sunday. Of course, the familiarity with Kevin O'Connell and Wes Phillips does help. The fact that he's a 3-down back also helps. And also the fact that he's adept at outside zone also works in his favor. So I guess we'll see. Next up, number 5. This will raise all boats. This is absolutely 1,000% true, because competition brings out the best in everyone. Where I mean, you're not promised anything. Like, even though Ty Chandler was drafted here in Minnesota, even though Mattison was drafted here and got an extension, I mean, nothing is promised, and they'll be the first ones to tell you that. And I mean, all of them were champing at the bit to get work behind Dalvin Cook, and they worked every single day. Mattison busted his ass to be a solid running back too. Now he gets a chance to be an RB1, and now he's got to prove it, right? He was never just going to be handed this job, and now Akers in the mix. It's going to bring out the best in Cam Akers. It's going to bring out the best of Mattison as well as Chandler, and it's going to be great. Overall, I think it is going to be good. But also number 6, negative impact on Chandler. Yes, true. Chandler, he's a good 3-down back coming out of North Carolina by way of Tennessee. He's been a preseason superstar. I think that he does have that extra gear that Akers and Mattison do not, so he could still have a role there. But I do think that there's a little bit too much overlap in their role in terms of Akers and Chandler. I do think that this will probably end up being, well, first off, a fantasy quagmire. But also a Mattison and Akers split with a little bit of Chandler mixed in there as well. But yeah, I think it's bad news if you're hanging on to Ty Chandler as a handcuff for Mattison. Number 7, Myles Gaskin is done. It's probably true. Yeah, so it actually stands out now that they did not have Gaskin on the week 1 rooster, which would have guaranteed his full base salary. But they save around $660K if they decide to move on. I think it could certainly be a spot where Gaskin is released, but then brought back onto the practice squad, similar to week 1. Maybe this is bad news for Dwayne McBride, 7th-round pick, who's also on the practice squad. Didn't really do much in preseason, but yeah. Even though Gaskin is solid all-around veteran running back, as well as, of course, he has familiarity with Flores. I don't know. Number 8, it's a bad trade by Kwesi. Stop. First off, if Mattison and Chandler combined for 300 yards rushing the first 2 games, I think they still make this trade because this is insane value. It is. You're getting a guy who was a high second-round pick for a swap of 2026. Again, next year's draft is 2024. So 3 years down the line, you're swapping your 6th-rounder for their 7th-rounder. That's it. That is it. And yeah, you inherit $1.29 million of his contract, which is still the 4th year of his rookie deal. That doesn't even make the top half of the Vikings cap hits this year. So this is a fantastic trade. This is too much value. And yes, it makes sense because the Vikings running game is struggling. So it sort of is synergistic there. But again, if Mattison and Chandler were ripping the cover off the ball, I still think that they make this trade because it's too much value, man. Next up, number 9, Akers will be running back 1 by end of season. I think this might be true. All right, so Akers has led the Rams in rushing every single season that he was fully healthy. So as a rookie in 2020, barely edged out Darrell Henderson, Kyron Williams, as well as Malcolm Brown. And then last year did the same, much wider gap. And also, remember, when he came back from his Achilles in 2021, made it back in time for the playoff run, he was a starting running back in the 4 postseason games, including the Super Bowl. So that is noteworthy. And I don't know why McVay and Akers just always had this beef. Like, it seemed like Akers has always been threatened to be traded. He was benched. He was just, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Lastly, number 10, the team is better today. That's true. That is true. And I understand where does Akers immediately solve the Vikings run game woes or the team's issues as a whole? No. He does not. But does he improve a spot on this 53-man roster? Yes. Can he contribute possibly Sunday and definitely this season? Yes, absolutely. And just finding a way in confluence with signing Reisner and offensive line getting healthy, getting that run game, taking pressure off of Kirk, having play action be viable, getting the offensive line some confidence when they're moving forward as opposed to always moving backwards, and also sustaining some drives and running some clock and getting some rest for that defense, which has not had a lot of it over the first 2 games. Yes, I think it all makes sense. But could this be a 3-headed monster? Certainly. Could Akers eventually take over as RB1 and Mattison is basically RB2, similar to the Dalvin situation? Again, completely ironic considering Akers' style of play and where he went to college. Yes, this is also a possibility. But see what happens, man. Either way, this is a good move, and glad that Kwesi made it. Your thoughts are thoughts. True or false on the Cam Akers trade? Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.